Hello, hello, and welcome to another Ubuntu Community Q&A. Today I'm joined by Evan Pope. My name is Daniel Holbach, and we're going to answer all your questions today.
Hello.
Brilliant. All right. If you're watching this on ubuntuonair.com, you might have noticed the chat box below the video feed. Just enter your favorite nickname, hit the connect button, and then you can talk to us, and you can ask all the questions you have. If you have questions, just make sure you prefix them with question in capital letters so we can more easily pick them up. And while you're at it, try to friend and circle and subscribe and follow all the Ubuntu on Air accounts you can find, because that way you're going to find out all about the newest shows and watch the old ones, and it's brilliant. Right. We had a couple of things we wanted to mention.
Should we start with UOS?
Sure.
So UOS is early. It's coming soon. I'm gonna have to find the date because I don't have it in front of me. It's the 3rd to the 5th of May, I think.
Yep.
And it's our regular online summit where we get together and talk about what's coming in the upcoming months towards the next release. So we'll be putting out Ubuntu 16.04 at the end of April, and then soon after that we have an online summit. It runs from 2 o'clock UTC until 8 o'clock UTC, 3rd to the 5th of May. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you want to get involved, you can propose sessions to run during the summit. Those are typically an hour long, but they can be shorter. You don't have to occupy an entire hour. And we have a set of tracks, subject separated tracks. You can find out more details about these tracks and how you go about getting involved at summit.ubuntu.com. But I'll run through the tracks. We've got app and scope development, cloud, community, convergence, and core. And there's an overflow channel, room or track, in case we have stuff that doesn't fit in any of the others. And we often find that people will schedule like round tables, or you'll have a discussion session during UOS, and then another topic comes up that you want to cover, but you don't have enough time in that session, so you want to cover it later on and give a dedicated slot. And so if there's any sessions that you want to add on to the schedule, like midway through UOS, often we'll use the overflow room if there's no room in another session. But I'm sure everyone knows how all this works. Basically, you sign up at summit.ubuntu.com, think of a session that you want to run, which could be covering anything that fits into any one of those tracks or something outside those, something new you want to talk about. Create a session and we'll schedule it in at whatever time slot is convenient for you and the other people, and then promote it, get other people to come along. If typically we use Hangouts to organize these, so people with a webcam and microphone can chat, and they're stored for later. So if you can't attend one of these sessions, they're all archived on YouTube. If you don't want to have your face on webcam and you don't want to use voice, or you can't because of where you are, or whether it's blocked or inaccessible for whatever reason, maybe you're at work during those times, then you can just use IRC, and we have IRC channels for each of the tracks. And in each session, we tend to have a live document using Etherpad, where people can take notes, so you can follow along using IRC, but also you can take notes in the Etherpad, ask questions in there, and also track work items. So any outcomes from any of those sessions, you can detail the work items at the end of the session, and then poke people to get those things done in the following weeks. Did I miss anything?
No. I would just say that it's a really nice process. Like it's a lot of fun, because sometimes you come up with a crazy idea, and you have a bunch of people showing up, and some of them are even willing to take on the work or have some more crazy ideas. I really like it. in terms of yeah, I think people should know what it's all about now. Right. We are also in the process of planning UbuCon Europe. For those of us who haven't heard of UbuCons yet, that's events where a local Ubuntu community team gets together, where they have all kinds of things. They have workshops, they have talks, they have a party. Like they organize a couple of days, sometimes together with another event that's already happening, like a bigger convention or something, and they have UbuCon at the side, or sometimes it's a separate event. And this time we're going to have UbuCon Europe, which is going to happen in Essen, in Germany. And if you go to ubucon.org, you can find out much more about where everyone is having the discussions right now. And if you'd like to get involved there, there's still a lot of room to to get involved and to share your ideas. And the event is going to be in November, so still some time. Good time to get involved now. And yeah, Mike pinged me earlier. Okay, he said he was considering to join us. He also wrote a blog entry yesterday. If you go to mhall119.com, that's his personal blog, he wrote about how you can get involved to make GNOME software, which is the thing we're going to use to install packages in the 1604 release. We're going to need your help to make it better and to understand better which apps are available and to make everything look pretty and nice. It's an easy job, and if you always wanted to get involved with Ubuntu, this might be just your thing. So mhall119.com, it should be his latest blog entry. And I think that's all the announcements we had. We might come up with more during the hour. Maybe we're going to remember a few things.
I didn't have anything else.
Normally that. Right. Let me check what the first question was. Yeah, the first one was a joke question. It was because I said on IRC that Kopi is just restarting his browser, his webcam, PC, and everything else. He said that it was all about restarting today. Somebody needed a bit more explanation to that. We're going to skip that one.
Something Mike has just mentioned in the IRC channel is release parties, which is a good thing. We haven't talked about that for a while. So we're releasing Ubuntu 16.04 at the end of April, 20-something, 21st maybe?
Yep.
Yeah, right. And often people get together and have a party and celebrate the new release, either by installing it on people's machines or just having a social event or maybe having talks or whatever. And we have a way of tracking all those events on loco.ubuntu.com, which is the Loco portal. You can create your event there and promote it, pass the link around and get people in your local community together. We often have one in London, but you can have one anywhere in your own country, anywhere you like. It doesn't have to be huge. We don't have to approve it or anything. There's no, it doesn't have to have canonical endorsement or anything like that. If you want to get together and have an event, you just get together and have an event. There's no requirement to have it signed off by anyone or anything. Putting it in, you don't have to put it in loco.ubuntu.com either. Some people use Meetup. Some people use Eventbrite or any other service that's popular local to you. Use whatever is most appropriate that will get people coming along to your event and helping you celebrate. Those are just some of the tools that we use, the ones that we advocate the use of because other people have used them, and one of them we built, which is loco.ubuntu.com.
Loco.ubuntu.com is also useful because it includes links to documentation. So Some other local teams already put together a couple of docs where they explain how to best set up a party, what to bear in mind, how to announce it, where to announce it, that kind of thing. So you might want to have a look anyway.
Yep. Okay, should we dive into some questions?
That's
Unless Mike has any other things he wants to throw at us from the IRC. This is the good thing about you miss out on if you only ever watch the video and don't join the IRC, you miss out on like 50% because people are chatting away while we're talking, and we get answers to questions that we don't know. They come up 5 minutes later on IRC. So yeah, if you go to ubuntuonair.com, you'll find the little chat box down the bottom, or join #ubuntu-on-air. Where's the first question?
Yeah, the first one was a quick one. It was from Halo Sponge. It was, should I add Reddit Ubuntu communities to wiki ubuntu.com/social or not? And I said, yeah, please do.
That was easy.
Yeah, if you know of any communities where Ubuntu people hang out, like, for example, there was an Ubuntu couchsurfing group or something, if you know any on wiki ubuntu.com/social, because it's nice to hang out with Ubuntu people, even if you're doing something else. Just add it there.
Absolutely. Next question is from Notes app, saying my last update. it's become sentient. I think the AlphaGo has yes. Anyway, Notes app says my last update was back in June 15. You don't like me? No. So the Notes app, there's two Notes apps on Ubuntu phone. One that we deprecated because it was not really maintained anymore, and the other one which is slightly newer and has Evernote syncing and a whole load of other additional features. There are some updates for it, and you should see a new version in the store very soon. Yes, we do like it. And we do use it. It's just a
Can you maybe share a few things that happened in the meantime? What is the good stuff that people are going to get in the next update?
A few bug fixes there. We've had a couple of issues with people losing data in the app, which is like the worst possible thing we can do with your notes is lose them. And so there's a couple of bug fixes which fix that kind of stuff, and there's a couple of UI fixes as well. Nothing like significant or major since the last update. Just maintenance basically.
Cool. Right, here's a question from Dragonbite. With Microsoft owning Minecraft and is rumored to be changing things over to C#, do you think there will be an issue with running Minecraft in Ubuntu in the future, or will .NET Core take care of that? No idea.
So Minecraft, like Mojang, who created Minecraft, it was written in Java. So, there was a version supplied for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. So you could just download the jar file and run it, and you've got Minecraft on your Linux computer. And then Microsoft bought Mojang for billions and billions of dollars. And the worry has been from a lot of people that there will no longer be a Linux version or a Mac version, once Microsoft get their claws into it. And who knows? It's hard to tell. It could well be that there'll be continue to be this version that we know and love that's written in Java, and then a separate version which is written in C# or whatever. Hard to know. A lot of people have complained in the last month or so that in the last 2 years or so, that Skype on Linux isn't very well maintained. So Microsoft don't have a particularly good track record of acquiring companies and then continuing to put out updates for platforms that are not Windows, which is a shame.
On the other hand, what's it called? The Microsoft SQL server now runs on Linux. Like, maybe it's not working for all of the departments.
Yeah, I think there are certain departments within Microsoft, like the server people, they like Linux, but maybe less so with the desktop people. I mean, some argued that part of the reason Microsoft bought Mojang was so that they could have a version of Minecraft on Windows Phone. which there hasn't ever been a version of Minecraft on Windows Phone. And so, if you want to buy your son or daughter a cheap phone, Windows Phone would not be an option because I can't play Minecraft. That's it. It's just like, no, mummy, I don't want that phone. It doesn't play Minecraft. If you have demanding, petulant children, you might succeed to that. Anyway, it's not up to us, and there's not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately. Use Mindtest instead. It's free and open source software and runs on lots of platforms. That's my answer to that. Is Mindtest.
Brilliant. Right, well, another question from Halo Sponge. There's a guy called Bad Geek on YouTube. Have we got to the stage where we just can't buggy software like OpenShot in the community that we need to post arguing videos about Ubuntu? Your thoughts? I'm not sure I understood the question.
So it looks like, someone on YouTube has an opinion and made a video articulating their opinion, basically. I don't see a problem with that. YouTube is a platform where people can say, I like, My Little Pony, or I like Mercedes, or, I like making cakes or whatever. And I don't think, it's a bad thing that people can say negative things about products which may suck in some way. So, we don't go out hunting down people who say make videos on YouTube about Ubuntu Phone that are bad, in the same way that we don't go hunting down people who make videos about Ubuntu Desktop or other free software like OpenShot. Everyone has their own opinion. They're entitled to, voice that opinion. And it may well be that as part of their arguing about how in this case, OpenShot that you've linked to or Ubuntu is bad, it may well be they have some nuggets of truth, and there could be things we could fix. So often there's a good reason why people make these kind of videos. It's often frustration, or they really love the product, they just want it to be better.
Yeah, I mean, if you have feedback about Ubuntu, about any apps or whatever, there might just be a bit more streamlined way to get your feedback in and to get people to care. Like I could imagine that most of the developers who work on OpenShot or bits of Ubuntu don't go around and watch random videos on YouTube just to find out, just to get feedback. So finding bugs, sending a mail to the mailing list, or showing up at Online Summit. If it's a bit of a bigger project, you might want to discuss it there. That's all options.
Yeah, I've had conversations with journalists and bloggers where they've written articles or they've made videos that have said, this product is terrible and these are all the things that are broken with it, and they will flat out refuse to file a bug or email a mailing list or do anything that is in any way what by any measure you would consider constructive to fix the problem. So there are some people who will make those kind of videos and absolutely will not contribute a bug. And I've watched other people's videos, seen a bug, and filed the bug for them because they won't do it. They just won't. And I don't know what you can do about that. I mean, part of the problem is the bug reporting process in Ubuntu is actually quite hard work. If you come from nothing, you don't have a Launchpad account, you don't have any knowledge of how to file a bug in Ubuntu, to go from zero to I have told the developer the problem that I'm having, there's actually quite a few hoops you've got to go through to do that. And we could make that easier. We could gather that feedback in various different ways, which is why I, when I see someone mention something on an article or in a video, I will often file the bug on their behalf because A, I can probably do it quicker than them, and B, I know they won't do it. I think the only thing we can do there is make it easier to report bugs in Ubuntu, but not so easy that we just get spammed with Me Too's and, this sucks and, stuff like that. It's a hard balance. You have to make it slightly difficult. Otherwise, everyone would just be going blah, 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 on their keyboard.
It's really hard. Yeah. Like I still know the time. So
solve this. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure some people believe they have solved this, but I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Farone says, when is WhatsApp going to be on Ubuntu? We don't know. You'll have to ask WhatsApp. That's our standard answer, I'm afraid. And I know we say that every time, but it's true. There's not much we can do about that. Dragonbite asks, is it decided how to get Unity 8 on 1604? Will it be an ISO spin, post-install packaging, or what?
I don't know if there's going to be an ISO, but it's very easy to install. You basically just install the Unity 8 desktop session mail package, and it's going to pull all the stuff that's required, and that's all you have to do.
I hear a rumor there will be a Unity 8 ISO of some kind for testing, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know when that will happen.
Cool.
Amar asks, how many phones does Ubuntu does Popey have? I don't know. 1, 2. Some. Next question. 7, something like that. Arnadoba asks, is it scheduled to be able to receive calls, SMS of Ubuntu phone on the tablet or desktop in the near future with the next release of the BQ Aquarius M10? So I don't think the Aquarius M10 has the necessary hardware to be able to do traditional like text messages. I mean, you can use like internet-based instant messaging, but I don't think it has the GSM radios to be able to do. You can't put a SIM in it, for example. I don't think it has a SIM slot. I may be wrong. I've never actually even seen the BQ tablet yet. However, I am aware that some of those apps have been removed from the image for the BQ tablet, which implies that they're not going to be much use on that tablet. So yeah, if you haven't got a phone hardware like radio in the device, there's no point having a phone app on there, unless the phone app supported stuff like SIP or something like that, which it may do in the future. So I think the answer to your question is no, I don't think the device will do SMS and calls.
Right. I just want to ask, where have the little Google Hangout user icons gone off the Hangout?
The what?
The user icons.
I don't know.
Every
I've
now
got a
and then,
little one. I've got a little one here,
Yeah.
but I can see a little picture of me there. I think
Yeah.
that's whoa, smacked in the face by your finger.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Moving on. Prasad asks, during MWC, there was news about the Sony Xperia Z1 Ubuntu Touch. What's happening there? I don't actually know. I know there was an image created. I don't know how far advanced it is. I've never seen a Sony Xperia Z1. Only pictures, and they look quite nice. Probably the best place to ask is in #Ubuntu-touch, and I think the person to poke might be either Victor P in that channel or John McAlealy. Poke one of those two people, Victor P or John McAlealy in Ubuntu Touch, and ask them about the Sony Xperia Z1, because they're the manager for that part of the project, so they're the best people to ask.
Cool. Second Byte asked, with the move to mobile, etc., is there any possibility of Ubuntu One being brought back for use between devices? Yeah, it's a really nice idea, but I fear that that's not going to happen. The reason why Ubuntu One was shut down was because it was just taking up too much resources. Like, too many people were working on this, and there were other companies who were just doing it better.
Yep. And just to be clear, I realize I say this quite a lot, but Ubuntu One still exists. It's Ubuntu One file sync that was shut down, just to be clear, because sometimes I think there was maybe miscommunication there, but a lot of people, whenever you say Ubuntu One, they're like, oh, that was shut down. The file sync bit was, but there are other parts that we still use. Anyway, let's move on. Not wishing to get too pedantic, sorry. Hassan asks, hi, is there any Ubuntu Convergence phone in the near future? Same convergence as BQ Ubuntu tablet? That's a good question. So it's tricky because for some people, convergence means, can I plug a cable in and plug that into a display? And I think that's only part of the story. I think that only, if you said, can the phone do convergence? Can it do convergence? I see people say that online. They say, oh, the BQ can't do convergence, or the Meizu can't do convergence. What they actually mean is the circuitry inside isn't wired up that you could plug an HDMI cable in it and get it out on a display. But convergence is more than that. There's also the ability to run the same code across multiple devices, and the click store and all the other bits and bobs that go with it. It's not just plugging a cable in. There's also, dynamically switching mode when the device changes. So when a keyboard appears, or when a mouse appears, or when a display appears over Miracast. There's a lot to it, and I think we need to find a better way to describe that, because just implying that convergence is the existence of a cable or not is a bit misleading. So I've got my pedantic hat on again, sorry. So I understand that many devices will be able to do convergence with or without a cable, some with, some without. We're working on the ability to transmit the display to a monitor wirelessly as one option, and as another option, transmit the display via an HDMI cable. So yeah, I think is that clear? Like, every device will be able to do convergence in one way or another. It's whether you plug a cable in or transmit it wirelessly. I've bored Daniel completely.
No. Like, perfect explanation.
You just went like that. Sorry. What's next? Hello, Sponge.
What are we doing to get more women into the community? A couple of things. We have the Ubuntu Women's team in the Ubuntu community who had lots of different initiatives. They had outreach programs. They had information days, or whatever you want to call them. They had blog entries where they showcased the career of women in open source in Ubuntu. And in general, the Ubuntu Women's team was there to help women get involved, especially if they wanted to have to talk to other women first before they get involved, that kind of thing. And it's still active. They have a mailing list, an IRC channel, a wiki. So if you would like to get involved there, it's a good option. But in general, whenever we say this is a task for somebody, do you want to get involved? We're obviously talking to everyone. We don't make any distinction between email, where do come. Obviously, for some people, it's going to be a bit harder to get involved, and we try to make it easy. But in general, we everyone to get involved. Alan just told me that I'm breaking up. Yeah, let me know on IRC if it's me or you can see.
Yeah, I don't know if it's you or me. Sorry. So one other thing that I learned just today, I was reading an article about having events, and that the language that's used in events can play a big part in how how many women will want to get involved in your event. So I'm keen. I've been to a few conferences where there have been talks about how to get more women involved in your community, and from my point of view, I'm still learning what the best methods there are. So I'm still learning, and I hope to put in place some of the things that I've learned over the last few months. Next question. Dragonbite says Microsoft is open sourcing the AI from Minecraft. Would this be helpful in making the Ubuntu phone intelligent? Is it? This is news to me. I didn't know anything about that. Is there AI in Minecraft? News to me. I don't know. Are you still having network problems, Daniel, or are you okay?
Yeah, just turn down the video quality a little bit. How do I sound?
Yes, I'm fine. Next question. Dragonbite asks, does anybody try pointing out to Apple and Microsoft that when they say cross-platform and works on all systems, they do not include Linux? That they're incorrect and should either change their terms or add Linux support? Yeah, feel free. Send them a letter, a nicely worded letter, to let them know that you would like them to change their wording on their marketing material. Good luck with that one. Mario, hello, Mario asks, what's the status of proprietary AMD NVIDIA drivers supporting Mir? I don't know, actually. The best person to ask is Kevin Gunn, I think. If you join the Ubuntu Mir IRC channel, anything specific to Mir, he is the best person to ask. He's K Gunn on IRC, KGUNN. I don't know how much he will be able to say. I know we are in discussions with AMD and NVIDIA. We've always had lines of dialogue for years open with AMD and NVIDIA about drivers. And so this is just a natural progression from that. I would expect he will probably give you an answer somewhere in the region of it's being worked on, and not much more detail than that, but you'd have to ask him.
Right. Here's a question from Notes app. Will users be capable in the near future to change the background of the scopes? It's been white and gray since 2014. It's possible to change it for developers. I don't think there's an option for users.
Right, so the developer of a scope can set the background of their scope. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and the whole styling of it.
Right. It's just that all of the scopes we have on there are by default use the same like paper background.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Design question. I don't know if we're planning to add that capability or not.
Yeah, next question is interesting. It's from Amar. Will there be any continuity between Ubuntu devices? Convergence is an admirable goal, but being able to seamlessly move between any device is, in my opinion, just as important.
Yeah, so we have some tools to do that, like U1DB, to be able to sync between devices in your desktop, for example. So in theory, you could be listening to a podcast on your phone and then get home, open your desktop, and start the same podcast app on the desktop, and it continue playing where you left off. We have some of the parts to do that. It requires that the developers implement that within the application, but potentially, yes, we can do those kind of features and have things sync between devices for continuity. Exactly.
It's very interesting because I wouldn't have just said exactly the same thing as Alan. I would even have used the same example. I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
I think it is the generic, continue doing what I was doing, like use case that everyone uses is like,
Yeah.
I was watching a film on the bus and I want to carry on watching the film when I get home, or listening to audio, or it's almost always media content getting to a certain part, and then you get home and you start playing it and it resets from the very beginning. The people who do this really, really well, in my mind, are Amazon with a Kindle. So it doesn't matter which device you use. When you turn to page 200 and you pick up a different device, that book will be on page 200. They're all in sync with each other. And the other company that does it well is Netflix. You start watching a program, you get partway through, you get 20 minutes into the program, you close down your browser and you walk away, you open it up 2 days later, completely different device, and it will carry on where it left off. So yes, there's a lot we can learn about how to do that really, really well. And we have some of the pieces, it's just not all in place yet. It's like on the big list of things to do.
Hey, there's another question. Has anyone looked into accessible Ubuntu for people with special needs? Are the user experiences tested at Canonical? Yes, we've had an accessibility team for ages already in Ubuntu. We've been testing all kinds of special needs setups, and that's still important to us. I don't know if the how much the design team works with the accessibility team, but I would imagine that there's some discussion, and we've shipped things like the what's it called, the Braille thingy. Like we've shipped all the relevant tools to make it easy, like a high contrast themes and that kind of thing, magnifier, all that kind of stuff. We've always shipped it because we wanted Ubuntu to be accessible, and because people not having to install random stuff from somewhere. So that's all included.
Cool. So Arnaud Dober says his Wi-Fi had a problem, so he didn't see the answer to his question. So he's asking again, is it planned to be able to synchronize calls, SMS from phone? I didn't see that question. Is it planned to be able to synchronize calls and SMS from Ubuntu phone to Ubuntu tablet with the next release of the M10? Well, you can't make calls and SMS on that device, but whether you could synchronize messages, that's very similar to the question we just had about continuity between devices. If the application developer uses something like U1DB to sync between devices, then yeah, you could have messages on one device that appear on other devices in the same way that it works on iMessage on iOS and Hangouts on Android. That could be done, yeah. I don't think we have that in place at the moment, though. Halo Sponge asks, who had pie yesterday for Pi Day? Halo Sponge wishes you a happy belated Pi Day. No, I refuse to celebrate Pi Day because it uses the ridiculous American date format.
Nice one. I didn't.
Yeah. Hassan asks, the Today Scope, will it be changed in the next OTA? The Ubuntu phone homepage has a new Today Scope. Oh, on the Ubuntu website. Yeah. So if you go to ubuntu.com/phone, you might see screenshots of upcoming features or things that we desire to be in the phone, but it might not be there yet. So I don't know if that's going to land in OTA 10, what you're specifically seeing. Some of the pictures on the website may indeed even be mock-ups. They might not actually be, screenshots of, code that's running right now. It could be mock-ups or prototypes or that kind of thing, sketches of what it should look like. But I don't think there's going to be a major change to the Today Scope. I've not seen it anyway.
Sponge also asked, we're at the stage where we are looking at an open banking API for local credit union. Does Canonical have a SWAT team to develop an app for banks, etc., if needed?
We don't really, and In the same way as for iOS and Android, it's really up to the banks themselves to develop those apps. Like we provide the core functionality, the basic apps you need for the phone to be a usable phone, like phone, clock, calendar, note taking, all that kind of stuff. And for third party, like really like niche apps for one particular bank, it's really going to be up to them. We can help and provide APIs in the platform, but it's really up to them to develop the app. In fact, if you create an app yourself with a particular bank's branding without their name on it, without their approval, with their name on it without their approval, then almost certainly they'll ask you to remove it from the store. So yeah, and I don't think we have the capacity to go around the world speaking to every single bank, and there are thousands of banks around the world. We just don't have the capacity to do that right now.
And I don't think it's a good idea anyway, because if you have problems with the bank, if you like, Canonical is probably not the best entity to look at processes in the bank and expectations of customers and match them somehow and keep it up to date and keep everything working. So that's much better done at the side of the bank. But I mean, if there's APIs missing or stuff that should be done elsewhere to better support a banking app, let us know. Talk to us.
Yep. Mario asks, I really liked the Ubuntu online party. It was really fun. Could we have an Ubuntu party for all Ubuntu flavors where we can bring us more together? Yes, we certainly can. And feel free to set one up or create one. You don't have to wait for us to do that. You can create one yourself. Members of the Ubuntu community created the Ubuntu online party. Anyone could create an Ubuntu one, or Lubuntu, or Xubuntu, or any of the flavors. We can help if there's anything you think we can do to help, and we'll probably join in as well. But yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, bring it up on the, if you're looking for people helping you with that, just bring it up on the Ubuntu community team mailing list. Yeah, do it.
Only asks, sorry, go on.
When you can move the files as in X11, then adding the possibility to put them on your desk. Okay, I try to rephrase that somehow. So I guess this is about comparing X11 with Nautilus, with something else, like you can move stuff on your desk. Maybe that's missing on the phone or something. I don't know.
Maybe re-ask and rephrase it slightly, because I don't understand that. I'm sorry. CMT asks, any announcements about the status of Ethercast? So I don't know. Actually, I've not actually tried it. I've seen. Well, actually, I have tried a very, very early version, and I noticed that my phone was able to find my TV, but I wasn't able to send the display from my phone to my TV. I don't know if I've got the wrong type of TV, or it's just not configured correctly, or what. I don't know. But the best people to ask about that is Kevin Gunn. If you go to Ubuntu-Mir on IRC on Freenode, ask the guys in there, and you can test stuff out. It might, if you've got an Ubuntu phone and you want to test this stuff out, it might mean you have to make the phone writable and add PPAs, and it gets a little bit hairy because this stuff is still under active development. But yeah, it's good fun having a play with that kind of stuff. Apparently, Michael Hall says he bets my phone still has an Android 4.x container, which probably, I guess, what his implication from that is that you need a newer container based on Android 5. And I'm rocking the BQ, which, yeah, is stock image, so it's got the 4.x. Okay.
Halo's Bunch seems to have contacted Jane Silver and she didn't reply, and now Halo's Bunch is a bit unhappy. Maybe we can try to establish the contact there, but bear in mind, like, Jane Silver is leading a big company with lots of people and has lots of conversations with partners and everything else. So just ping us later on, and maybe we can raise the subject of an Ask Me Anything, and see if Jenny's interested. But don't take it personally, really. Like, I'm sure she gets like 1,000 super important emails every single day. So
All
yeah.
from you, of course, Daniel. So Notes app says, I want to buy a Nexus 7 2013 to use Ubuntu on it. Is this device capable of side stage? It should be. It always was. I have one, and I am certain I have used the side stage on the Nexus 7. So yeah, that should work fine. Or you could wait and get the BQM10. Any other questions?
There was one from Mario. Are there plans for supporting biometrics like fingerprint, heart sensor, and NFC in Ubuntu Touch?
Yes.
There you go.
Well, there's certainly plans for supporting the fingerprint sensor, I believe, because I understand one of the upcoming devices, someone found pictures of it online and it had a fingerprint sensor or something, and so they were asking about that, and I believe the response was yes, we're looking at how to implement that. I don't think it's done yet, but yeah, it's on the list, and I don't doubt that heart sensor, NFC, and all those other things will be on the list as well. How far down the line they are, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure fingerprint reader is near the top.
Cool. This bunch also wanted to know what our favorite type of ice cream was. All of them. How about yours? Most of them.
I quite like Neapolitan. The one that's like, it may be a English thing, I don't know, but it came in a pack when I was a kid, and there was 3 stripes. There's like strawberry, vanilla, and then chocolate.
Yes.
You get a bit of all 3 flavors. So yeah, all of them.
Brilliant.
Yes, all ice cream.
Okay. Amar wanted to know if there was any progress on the Mycroft AI on the desktop. I don't know.
I don't know. You'd probably have to speak to Mycroft guys. Ryan is probably the best person to ask. Ryan Sipes. He would know all about that. CMT asks, he's found a project. I think this is I don't know, that's a short URL, so I can't tell what it is. It's about teleporting or cloning apps on the fly from one device to another. Could LexC, LexD do that for Snappy Ubuntu Personal? Could it be built into the SDK without the need of LexC, LexD? So I think I saw a video about this where it was very much like Jack Bauer in 24, where he says, send it to my screen, and he throws something from one screen to another, and the whole application moves from one place to another. I have no idea how that works. The Kickstarter implied that it was all patent pending and stuff. But yeah, it could be something interesting we could try and do. I don't know that LexC and LexD do live migration yet, but once they do, that would be something interesting to look at. Hassan asks, is it possible that scopes work with a database? I think about management software such as customized apps that made with FileMaker on OS X, but as a scope in Ubuntu. I've never developed a scope, actually, so I don't really know much about this.
It should be possible. Like you can write them in C++. You could just link it against your database library or something. I'm just wondering how well it's going to work if you swipe and then the next scope come up and then you swipe back again and you hit the database again. Like if that's going to have any impact. So if the scope is the best, design metaphor for implementing your database integration, I don't know, but it should be possible.
Right. Interesting.
Maybe just start with a simple test case and see how it performs, and then just take it from there. Like go to developer ubuntu.com/scope, and there's lots of examples. It shouldn't be too hard.
And we have a an IRC channel, which is most busy during the European working day, which is Ubuntu app devel, Ubuntu-app, app-devel, devel. And if you drop by there, there are people there who've written scopes, and you can highlight. I think there's a keyword mentioned in the topic of the IRC channel. You can ping people with that and try and get people's attention. If you're interested in JavaScript scopes, then David Calais is a good person to speak to. He knows all about that. He wrote the book effectively on that. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. Next question.
The question about moving stuff to the desktop has come up again, but it's not any clearer. Just try to look through the conversation.
Well, I don't think on our Unity 8, I think on our Unity 8 session, we don't have a concept of putting things on the desktop. I think that may be where this question comes from.
Right. So on the traditional Ubuntu desktop, we use Nautilus for that. So Nautilus paints the desktop and understands that the desktop is tied to a folder somewhere, and it displays what's in there. So I don't think we have something similar on the Unity 8 desktop yet. So
I don't know if that's in the plan or whether anyone's filed a bug about that, but it would be quite interesting because I know a lot of people use their desktop as a kind of dumping ground of stuff. Looking at my desktop, yeah, there's all kinds of rubbish all over my desktop. So
yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's quite a useful feature. I know for years we always when the Ubuntu desktop releases came out, there was always a heated argument about how do we make something more visible. I know we'll put an icon on the desktop, and it always got bounced back from design. Nope, not putting icons on the desktop. It was always keep the desktop nice and clean, and that was always a policy. But yeah, it's nice for users to be able to do that.
We have an Ubuntu Mate question from Tech Lords. Question is if 1604 Mate is going to include a logout option.
I thought it did have a logout option. I'm running Ubuntu Mate 1404 on my system, and I'm pretty sure it has a logout option. I'll boot it up. I wonder if I can get it booted before the end of the call. We'll see. Okay.
Next one is from Halos One. Who designs the clothing clobber on the Canonical store?
The design team, isn't it?
I guess. Oh, I didn't know what clobber meant. So.
Clothing. Yeah. I think the context of this question is that they really liked there's a further follow-up question. They really liked the Hardy Heron t-shirt, which I too really like, and I still have 2 of them. And I think they want more of those nice, pretty t-shirts because a lot of them are very similar at the moment. They're mostly, a symbolic kind of picture of whatever the animal is. Sorry. Yeah, design team. I would love to see more of the Hardy Heron t-shirts. I love those. They were one of the better ones.
Hey. Halo Sponge also asked, originally there are a lot of phones ported to Ubuntu Touch, now they don't work. Surely if they work once, they should always work with updates. What went wrong? Right.
So when we first launched the phone, the architecture was that we booted into an Android kernel and Ubuntu was inside a container. And a lot of the porters ported Ubuntu to those devices using that architecture. And then some months later, we made a fairly fundamental architectural change, which is it boots the other way around, in which Android is inside the container and we boot Ubuntu. and a lot of the phones in ports were not updated when that happened. So really, it's a case of contact the people who made the ports and ask if they'd mind updating their ports for those particular devices.
Okay. Okay, so there was a question about the Harry Hair t-shirt, which we already...
So I found the logout option on my Ubuntu Mate.
That's 1604?
No, this is 1404. So my 1404 laptop. So I think the question is when you hit the icon in the top right here, you get 4 options: suspend, hibernate, shut down, and so on. But the logout option is over here on the system menu. So there is that's where I was mistaken. There is a logout option, but it's here. It's not over on the shutdown thing. I don't know if there's a plan to do that, to add that in 1604. You could drop by the Ubuntu Mate IRC channel and ask in there. Martin is the person who runs the Ubuntu Mate project. He's flexion.org on IRC. He's the best person to ping about that.
Okay, we also learned that Neapolitan exists in the US as well. So
I can still go to the US and eat ice cream. Brilliant. Okay, we're pretty much out of time. Any more questions?
Yeah, there was one about the Ubuntu store accepting anything other than PayPal, so Bitcoin and some other things. I have no idea.
I think we're dependent upon the payment processor we use, so it really depends on, you know, what they take and our deal with them as to, you know, how much of a slice of the pie they take, as well as to what and what they will provide. I think in the future, yeah, maybe we will support. I know we've talked about it before. In the future, when there's many more users of Ubuntu Phone, maybe it will be more financially viable to do that, but I don't think it's viable right at this moment.
Cool. Right, somebody asked if we're going to be at UbuCon Europe, and it's still some time until November, but I'm quite sure I'm going to be there.
Yes, I think a bunch of us are going to be there.
Cool. All right. That we managed to finish all of the questions, but most of them, and we're going to hang around on IRC for a bit. So ask us there. Thanks, everyone. It was some brilliant questions. Thanks, Ellen. And you're going to see some other folks next week.
Yes.
All right.
Cool. Drop by the Ubuntu On Air YouTube channel and subscribe, etc. And if you follow Ubuntu On Air on Twitter, then you find out about what upcoming videos there are.
Excellent. All right. Take care, everyone.